Hello, and welcome to Very Kimberly, the healed side of codependency. Amber and Teresa had been best friends in high school and had recently got back in touch with each other. Teresa had married very young to her high school sweetheart Andy, and they had two children around Susie and Kristen's age. Both Teresa and Andy had mild learning disabilities, much like my own parents. Teresa was a stay-at-home mom, while Andy worked as a custodian at one of the local schools and cleaned houses on the side. While in high school, Amber, Teresa, and Andy worked part-time at a local restaurant together, as well as Andy's best friend Jack, whom he had been best friends with since elementary school. Jack did not have any learning disabilities, but he never finished high school either because he had to continue working to help his mother pay the bills at home. See, Jack had grown up in a highly dysfunctional and abusive home, having a severely alcoholic father, Jack Sr. Jack also had a highly codependent mother, Sarah, who not only worked to pay all the bills and raised her 6 children mostly all by herself, but also enabled her husband in many ways too by catering to that lifestyle. You see, for that family, alcohol consumption was seen as just a normal part of life, and it was only the debilitating severity of Jack Sr.'s alcoholism that led to the abuse that was seen as the real problem. Jack's oldest sister, Rose, who had helped Sarah raise the younger 3 children, Jack included, had passed away suddenly from heart complications when Jack was a young adult. And shortly thereafter, Jack's mother was killed in a car accident, being hit head-on by a drunk driver. But that lifestyle of alcohol always being a staple of socialization just continued. Andy and Teresa were always a part of Jack's inner social group, with them often hanging out at bars together with Jack and his first wife, Kate. Kate was a recovering drug addict, and although Jack had spent years trying to help Kate stay clean from drugs, he never really saw their social drinking as a hindering component of those efforts. But their tumultuous marriage, fueled by their lifestyle, came to an abrupt and horrific end, with Kate committing suicide by walking in front of a car on a major highway. Jack saw the whole thing and was completely traumatized and broken. he had lost yet another person that meant the world to him. Only 3 months later, Andy and Teresa went to visit Amber, and the three of them decided to introduce Jack to me, and we were instantly drawn to each other. Not only was Jack very handsome, but his backstory made my heart want to wrap its arms around his very soul and heal all of his wounds. And even though Jack was drinking socially a lot more than what I had perceived as normal at the time, I excused it because of the trauma he had endured. Neither one of us was looking for any serious relationship, but there was also never a day that went by that we didn't talk on the phone or see each other. Jack seemed to be the complete opposite of Joe. Kind, considerate, and always taking the initiative to help everyone and anyone around him. Both Jack and I were hurting in many ways from the past, and we both found comfort in each other's company. Amber and Matt held many social gatherings at their home around this time, all with alcohol consumption, and it wasn't long before I became entangled in that same lifestyle. As a single mom for 2 years with little to no socialization and support, all of a sudden I had friends and family all around me that now gave me that sense of belonging. But I knew that if I had refrained from the social drinking lifestyle of that group, all of that acceptance and love for me would go away. In other words, I believed, as most codependents do, that if I did not go along with whatever they were doing, that I would not fit in. And if I did not fit in, then I would lose the very thing I wanted the most. Even if what I wanted the most from the wrong people was the last and least thing that I needed. There were a few times, though, that I had expressed my skepticism to Amber about my relationship with Jack. I had no desire to be in a relationship with someone where I would have to compete for their heart with a ghost. And even though I cared for Jack deeply, I did not want to get hurt again, knowing that I would always take second place. Jack needed time to heal, and so did I. So there were many times I believe the Holy Spirit was trying to convict me, where I had this very strong urge to pull back from the relationship altogether. But instead of validating those doubts, Amber would say that I was just being selfish. By the time that I had moved into the rental house in Amber's neighborhood, and the girls came home from their summer vacation with Joe, Jack and I were seeing each other consistently and exclusively, even though he never took off his wedding ring. Kristen seemed to like Jack quite a bit at first, receiving the attention that she never received from Joe because Susie was always Daddy's favorite. Susie, on the other hand, did not like Jack at all, but she was also struggling with the fact that her dad and I were getting divorced. But the girls did like playing with Teresa and Andy's children when we all got together every single weekend. After his first wife had died, Jack did not work for about a month, grieving her loss and dealing with the trauma of watching her commit suicide. This apparently started a downward financial spiral, which led to Jack losing the trailer that he and his first wife had lived in. Jack did have a consistent job working for a drywall contractor. So at the time, I saw Jack's financial woes as simply the result of his loss, not so much the social drinking. However, I would later come to realize they both went hand in hand. So I asked Jack if he wanted to move in with me and the girls to help him out. Jack did all of the yard work, fixed things around the house, and never once questioned or criticized how I ran the household or raised the kids. He gave me money for the bills and the groceries, although I still paid for most of it. In a matter of months, we had become an instant family, which is something Jack had always wanted, and something that I felt was finally fixed in my life. However, Jack still never took off his wedding ring, and socially drinking on the weekends became a routine that I wasn't really fond of, but went along with anyway. I knew deep in my heart that Jack did not have the capacity to really and truly love me. But I reasoned in my heart that Jack playing the part was good enough for now, while he healed. I reasoned that in time, my love and care for him would eventually make him love me back and care about me in all the ways that I needed. I hope that you'll join me next time, and until then, this is Very Kimberly encouraging you to keep striving to be on the healed side of codependency.